We're going to talk about reporting and invoices and payment. Just to give you a quick insight into our history with the portal, we launched in May of 2021. We actually launched just kind of with the campaign pieces as well as invoices and payment. We are now at 4,800 advertiser users, 450 agency users, 350 internal users. We launched creative about this time last year, did a lot of it internally, and have over the last year kind of moved that out to our clients, and we're finishing the creative rollout now with print, now that we actually have some structural changes in the business that allow us to run print all through one design group. And we've seen, if I didn't say, 7,100 creatives submitted through the platform and 13,000 invoice payments. So we're really ecstatic about that. As I said before, we are now doing digital and print in all aspects through the portal, which is really nice to have a single client experience. We've done things like integrate digital screenshots, so we're no longer taking those manually, nor are we delivering them manually. It's all in the portal. We are doing approval notifications, so we're letting our clients know that their creative's ready to go and they don't need to worry about it. And we are also sending out invoice payment reminders. We are not yet doing the creative reminders, and that's just because we wanted to get all of our creative rollout complete and all the correct statuses on every campaign before we do that, so we don't send out unnecessary emails. So we'll dive into reporting and talk a little bit about our challenges. Prior to the portal, we just had a lot of challenges with scale. Our business is a lot of small to medium business, and it's often death by paper cuts. So creating a valuable report with a lot of visuals is very difficult to do at that scale. Thousands of clients, thousands of campaigns. And as Anne mentioned, like, we really want those client success team members to be, adding value and using those higher level skills. And we also do want all of our clients, even if they're just a one-time $500 client, to get a premium experience so that they come back and spend with us again. But we need to do that in an inexpensive way. So we need to allow direct access to reporting at a reasonable cost. As we looked at other platforms out there, either there were licensing costs that weren't scalable, or there were workflow steps that we had to do to manually set up accounts, things like that, that were barriers. So as I mentioned, some of this, but we already use Microsoft Power BI as our reporting platform. We use that for everything from salesperson's commission statements to overall revenue reporting and ad performance. So we use that internally, export reports, send them out to clients. The great thing about Power BI is we had an enterprise level, so there was no additional card cost to adding our thousands of clients to that reporting. We just needed a way to get them there. So AdBookPORTAL allowed us to expose that Power BI dashboard by embedding it in the portal and using row-level security and authentication to make sure that they're only seeing their client data, which is really important. And that kept us from having to set up a separate authentication, separate accounts, all of those things. Reports can be activated based on the types of products. So we have various different types of reports, which I'll show here in a moment. Makes it really convenient for those that maybe they're only a print advertiser, maybe they're only digital, maybe they go to an event. What's really great about this integration is that the data can be updated and the dashboard refreshed as frequently as we need to. There's really kind of no middleman. We don't have to like upload data to AdBook or to FatTail and wait for it to process and wait for that a design change to be completed. We have complete control. Clients and agencies can access these reports 24/7, and our sales teams can use them as well, which is really great because they get the exact same view that the client does. So they really can talk to it, whether it's on a Zoom call or in person, and be using the same numbers and the same presentation. As I mentioned, we can make updates in real time without code changes. And it's a seamless single serve platform. You really don't know that reporting is coming from a different source than the portal, which I think is a really great client experience. And just a quick, I'm not going to go over all these little things, but it's just a visual reminder of all these different systems and where we get data and how hard it is to manage that manually. And that's what our client success team was doing. They were having to go into GAM and pull delivery reports, go into Moat and pull a report, kind of join all that together manually. And so Power BI allowed us to do all of that data work, but the portal really enabled us to expose that to the client. So real quickly, a couple of slides on the report so you can get a kind of a picture of how this is integrated. Again, the middle part where the kind of white background with the tabs is the Power BI report, actually from our Power BI server. Again, we make a change, it shows up immediately. We were able to design this however we wanted, whatever is appropriate for our business, which is great. We didn't have to work within a specific vendor's confines. So we built some visual calendars, some charts, visuals to show where campaigns are at in the progress of delivery. So this overview tab just gives them kind of a very brief, quick look at what's going on with their campaign. I'll show you quickly our banners tab, as I was saying earlier, combining here a bunch of different data. So you've got basically your ad book data about the campaign itself. You've got your GAM data that tells you about the impressions and clicks, but we're also bringing in Moat data to talk about exposure time, because we all talk about getting beyond the click-through rate. So that was really nice here because we can automate all of that and not have to spend the time to deliver it to a one-off campaign.
I like that. I like that point as publishers have to work on their narrative of working with clients, right? And expose where the value is, to add something like this and then do that across hundreds, if not thousands of advertisers as kind of a part of it. There's one spot you hit on that I'm just really thinking about, which has been this asking clients to log in. A lot of that positioning has been around how do we get away from white glove service? Mm-hmm. And there was something in the way you said it, Matt, that I'm now, you're going to hear me probably talk about this more about, like, it's more about automating white glove service, right? I mean, again, I'm not like, guys, everyone that's listening, this isn't me sitting there going, "Oh, I found a new way to sell it." It's really just sitting there trying to think through the way of internally thinking about this and then how you go about it. This is less about semantics and more along the lines of going, like, we don't have to really give up what we provide our clients. It's just the fact that we're going to be able to do this at scale and tie all these things together. And then something like an engagement metric is important. And by the way, that means their eyes are on it. Your salespeople everyone's eyes are on it. If something doesn't look right, you're going to hear about it, right? Which is better than not. So yeah, please. You just got me going in a thought process there that I think is really, really interesting as I think about all this stuff.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, this is a supplement to our premium account client success team. They're not replacing their level of service. This complements it. We rolled this out, but our reps at first were like, I don't want them seeing this because I always want to see my reports before it gets delivered to the client. They would say that all the way up to launching it. I have heard 0 complaints since we launched it. So, there's something to be said for it being in reality and seeing what the clients, how they actually handle it. And I would say, and I did with the reps at the time, I'd rather know there's something wrong with this campaign and the client know it midstream so that we can fix it. We can switch to another product. We can optimize before they get to the end, and we really can't do anything about it at that point except ask them to spend more with us, which is not a great experience, right?
Right. Please continue.
Yeah, absolutely. What's great about this is very interactive, and I can't show it here on a PowerPoint slide, but you can click on the bars of the chart and look at just that month of data. You can click in different areas and look at just that line item. So I think that interactivity creates a lot of kind of shiny object stuff with our clients that they won't get with other media. Here's just another example of how we're integrating data. So native advertising, this actually brings in both the article data with Moat information about depth of scroll, things like that, as well as page views. And then also brings in GAM data. So it's talking about how often we promoted that article and how many people clicked on those promotions. And then a graph down at the bottom right that helps them compare the success of their articles so they can visually see those articles that are up in the top right quadrant were both very engaged and spend a lot of time. So I think that there's a lot to be said with visuals that help tell a story and then analyze and act. What we hadn't done before is do much around print and events. And this was really hard for me to think about when we started thinking about reporting, because we want to go beyond just digital. These services are not just for digital. So we dug deep, thought about what's important, and shared here, reach and frequency calculations, information about insertions, and then, some visuals around, where the audience is that you're hitting. So I think all of this together kind of helps add value to the print purchase. Likewise for events, but jumping over to a listings platform here. So we had a platform. This is where we've seen really some significant time savings. This was a report that we send out just to 15 sponsored advertisers. So there's only one per market. So we have 15 markets where there's a sponsorship. And our client success team was spending 10 to 15 hours a month just producing these reports for those 15 clients. So obviously that's very hard to scale then to all 40 of your markets. And to multiple sponsors and advertisers within a market. So this allows us to automate that. The client has direct access. They don't have to wait till the end of the month to receive a point in time report. It's live and updated regularly, and gives them all of those great insights that they were looking for. So gave you a little bit of a view of what we're doing. Obviously, there's a lot more you can do or do it differently using the Power BI tool and any integration into the portal. So some of the benefits we've seen is that reporting is immediately available to all of our portal users. We don't have to go into a separate reporting system, set up an account, send out that account information to the client. It's all integrated with that one login and all the permissions that are involved in that. Manual reporting requests have dropped 30% so far. So we had a process where a rep can request a report for a client through Salesforce, and we manually generated that and delivered it. That's down 30%. We've seen a time savings of 22 hours per month doing that. We're also able to provide that same level of service to all of the advertisers. So these reports weren't delivered to everybody, only the ones that were requested. So that's really important. The listings reporting I mentioned, savings of 10 hours per month, and our client success teams able to focus on that value added work, as well as improve customer satisfaction. And as I mentioned a couple of times, what's really nice is the management of the dashboard design and content. It's completely up to us. We're not working within a vendor's confines. We have a blank canvas to work with. So I'll stop there. I don't know, Rob, if you have anything else on reporting to talk about, or we can move on to invoices.
No, let's move on to invoicing. Again, I think the reporting stuff, you put that together very well holistically. I think every company's got a little bit different aspect of how they're thinking about reporting. But the fact of the matter is that there's a aspect of solving for data aggregation, pulling that stuff together, knowing what you want to present, and then the fact that this again ties in to that process. And again, you saw time savings, and that's ultimately where we're all kind of really focused, is what we have our people working on and so forth. So yeah, I think let's dive into invoicing.
On the invoice side, I think there were some different challenges. Of course, scale is a challenge as well. Delivery of invoices, taking payment for so many clients is difficult. We wanted to find a way to improve our aging, make sure payments were made earlier. We were having some challenges supporting credit card transactions because we have so many offices. We want to be PCI compliant. So what that meant for us is centralizing credit card payments, which was not easy. And there was a lot of back and forth between a client if they wanted to make a credit card payment of an invoice, leaving messages, getting called back. And it was just kind of a ridiculous interaction with our clients. Should be the easiest thing is to have somebody pay their bill. So we also had challenges meeting our clients' needs across 4 time zones. Our corporate offices in the East Coast, we're supporting Hawaii. So having something that works 24/7 is really important. Spending a lot of time retrieving forgotten invoices and emailing them out to clients. As I mentioned, manually processing credit card payments. And then we were seeing that adoption of credit card payments was going really well But there was no easy way to use ACH or electronic transfer, which saves significantly on credit card fees. So that's obviously a very behind the scenes business impact, but it's really important when at the scale that we're at. So why use the portal for invoices? We have an existing AR system that generates our invoices for us. It prints them to be sent out in the mail, or emails them out, records payments, but it didn't have any type of customer interface. So there was no way for the customer to go in directly and make a payment. Again, because we have 40 offices and want to maintain that compliance, need a self-service solution so that none of our employees are exposed to credit card numbers. In this system, invoices are immediately available, which is great. You don't have to wait the days it takes to come in the mail, or it doesn't just go to one person via email. It's available to all of your portal users in that account. And what's really great with all of the integrations that there's no delay, because this is an API-based integration. So the portal, when somebody logs in, is calling our AR system in a live API call and pulling back the invoices at that moment. So if we have a problem and need a regenerated invoice, it can be regenerated by our billing team and immediately seen in the portal, which is really great. We did add the electronic transfer option recently, which has gone very well. We're seeing some early adoption and some savings as well. I mentioned credit card payments tied to our current AR system and credit card processor, so everything's very seamless there. We don't have to have other vendors to deal with. You can download the PDF version of your invoice and pay any open balances. And we do send out, as I mentioned, invoice reminders 5 days before a due date if there's still a balance, and 5 days after. So that's, helps them with aging. So just really quickly, this is a simple view of how the invoices look in the portal. Just a list, kind of reverse chronological, showing the issued date, the due date, the advertiser's name. If they have a PO number, helps them identify the right invoice. And then whatever the balance may be. And you can see on the right there, the download and pay button. What we also were able to do is deactivate that pay button for employees. So employees of ours can go in and see all the invoices and everything, but they cannot make a payment on behalf of a client. So again, protects us on the PCI side. So as you see, here's a screenshot of our PDF. And it's a very simple process for making a payment. You click on the invoice pay button, up pops the balance. You can change that, as you can see in this example, we have a limit of $5,000 for credit card payments. So they've updated that, able to use their wallet to pay with a credit card. So we have saved wallets of credit cards or for different bank accounts for ACH. And we're able to put in a credit card limit. So we allow credit cards, but only up to a certain limit. Otherwise, it has to be an ACH transaction. So some of the benefits of what we've been doing with the invoices, we reduced the time to support the manual credit card payments and avoid those PCI issues. Well, we've recorded a time savings of 2 to 3 minutes per transaction, and 13,000 transactions. That adds up about 570 hours. That reduces the load on our accounting team, and reduces errors too, because there's an automated recognition of that revenue. We've improved aging with the different methods and using invoice balance reminders. We now have easier client access to the electronic transfer option. It used to be you had to call in and provide your bank information, and it would be set up manually. And again, this is about a better customer experience. So our $500 client has the same experience in the portal as our $500,000 client. So it's really important. And Ryan, my boss, who kind of kicked this project off, said, we want the Amazon experience. You want to be able to do whatever you need to do in one place.